Test 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, good. We passed the test evidently. I'd like to welcome everybody to the special meeting agenda. Thursday, May 9th, and approximately 6:30. I have to ask first, council, if there's any disclosure of pecuniary interest. Seeing none, I'd just like to say good evening to the candidates and the guests. I'd like to welcome everyone to our councillor selection meeting. Thank you to everyone who submitted their candidacy form. In a time of widespread dissent and anger at all levels of governance, your stepping forward is appreciated. The successful candidate tonight will have to hit the ground running for training in the next few days prior to Tuesday's budget and swearing in. You'll be asked to serve on committees, and I should make you aware of the upcoming District of Parry Sound Municipal Association meeting on May 17th. I would be remiss if I didn't add that volunteerism is highly expected and appreciated for all council initiatives. Unfortunately, there's only one council seat available, so 7 of you will be disappointed with our decision tonight. Well, you may be disappointed, you may not be. Hopefully this will motivate you to run in the next election in 2 short years so you can gain the voter support and perhaps a council seat then. So tonight, I'm sure you're all aware, but for those of you that are here as guests tonight, the procedure, names will be drawn randomly to determine the speaking order. When your name is drawn, you're asked to come to the podium where council and I will welcome you. So I'm welcoming you now. You'll be given no more than 5 minutes to address council, but feel free to take less if you want. Each member of council will have the opportunity to ask questions to the candidate, and I'll reverse the order of questions. And if there's a duplicate question, councillors, you can just say you have no questions or that question's been answered already. In the past, we've had it where they asked them the same question twice. It's redundant. And following the speaking address and questions, you just return to your seat. Upon completion of the speeches, council will vote by casting a ballot to be tallied and read by the clerk. The successful candidate will be announced. You have to get 3 of 4 ballots. A bylaw declaring the winner will be passed. The successful candidate will be asked to attend council orientation Friday and Monday, and the oath of office will be done at the budget meeting on Tuesday, May 14th. And again, I thank all the candidates. And without further ado, we'll just take the top off. Looking squarely in your eye, I will pick, this person will go first. And it is Sean Hughes.
So I wrote something out to a little speech, and I guess I'll start with that. So I stand before you today, not just as a candidate, but as a young, longtime member of this vibrant community. A community that I'm proud to call home and have since I was a child. And I want my son to be able to say the same thing as he grows up and thinks back to where he was raised. As we gather here, I'm filled with a sense of duty and responsibility to serve each and every one of our community members. This township holds a special place in all of our hearts. It's where our children grow, where families thrive, and where memories are made. But like any community, we face challenges, and we must confront them with determination, innovation, and unity. I have seen this community come together to make Nipissing a great place to live and visit. I have also listened to what other community members are saying about what would improve our township and what we are doing well. I believe that serving on council is not merely a position of power, but a commitment to advocate for the well-being of every resident, to listen attentively to their concerns, and to work tirelessly to address them. Together, we can tackle the pressing issues that affect us, from infrastructure improvements to economic development, from environmental sustainability to social equity. We must invest in our roads, our schools, and our public services to ensure that our township remains a place of opportunity for generations to come. I know that's what I want for my young son. But let us not forget the importance of preserving our town's unique character and heritage. Let us cherish our parks, our cultural institutions, our local businesses, for they are the soul of our community. As I reflect on my upbringing, I realize how much I may have taken for granted the wonderful offerings of Nipissing. Yet, when I pause to contemplate the richness of our community, I'm filled with gratitude. It's remarkable that our small town boasts amenities that rival or even surpass those of larger municipalities. Take, for instance, our new playground. It's a favorite hangout for my son and his friends, with picnic tables nearby. Parents such as myself can watch them play and enjoy the laughter. Plus, the well-kept grass and clean surroundings make it even better. In the winter, our community comes together around the ice rink, a labor of dedication that requires continuous effort. Yet with the excitement of skating, it's easy to overlook the dedication of those who maintain it. Ensuring it remains a source of fun for all. It's moments like these that remind me of the invaluable role the township plays in enriching our lives. Without their tireless efforts, we would have these cherished spaces to enjoy and create lasting memories. As many of you are aware, my understanding of the township has deepened significantly through my employment with my father. I've learned a lot about our community and its challenges. We've worked together on different projects, and it's given me a greater appreciation for where we live. In my current role, I'm an operations superintendent with a neighboring township, which has provided me with valuable insight into the workings of a council. This experience has underscored the significance of cooperation to address the community's needs effectively. I recognize the commitment and dedication required to serve on the council, understanding the pivotal role it plays in representing the voices and concerns of our community members. My interest in serving as a council member predates the current vacancy. In the 2022 elections, I ran for this term and narrowly missed securing this exact position by a margin of just 4 votes. While I wasn't elected at that time, the outcome suggests that the community members recognized my capabilities and viewed me as a strong candidate for council. Additionally, I previously applied for another vacant position, further demonstrating my commitment to contributing to our community's governance. As your council member, I will lead with integrity, transparency, and accountability. I will collaborate with fellow council members, community leaders, and residents to make informed decisions that reflect the best interest of our town. With my experience and passion, I know and believe you know that I will be the best candidate for council of Nipissing Township.
Thank you. And I'll open the floor to questions, and I'll start with Councillor Yem.
Well, my question was, what makes you the best person to fill this position on council? And pretty much did that, but if you want to add anything to it.
I think pretty much I'll just add, I guess, reiterate the fact, like my experience working in the construction industry my entire life, and now with the township, I mean, bringing a younger voice to council, long-term resident in the township. I've also went to school for firefighting, never followed through with it, but I've got a pretty good understanding of the fire department, the inner workings, so I think that would make me an ideal candidate.
Thank you.
I think my question would be, and I read through your letters a lot about the volunteering and everything else. What does the future volunteering look like for you? Like, what's the plan for you to give back to the kids in the community, and how do you see that? How do we see that happening?
I think I'd like to get back to the recreation committee. I was previously on it, and then personal life took a turn. But now everything sort of calmed back down in life, and my new career, I guess, gives me a lot more time for flexibility. Whereas when I was still working for my father, the hours of availability weren't really there. So I'd like to see more, like with the kids events and more improvements with the park. And I know the soccer is a great thing, but try and get something going for the winter as well.
Awesome. And then with your background in operations, or maybe not that question, maybe what would be what do you think our biggest focus needs to be within the township?
I think our biggest focus in our township, as well as most townships, I guess, is financial responsibility. Coming together, trying to find out the most efficient way to do things, and monitoring our infrastructure and making the necessary improvements and the maintenance required to keep it going.
Sean, what in your opinion needs to improve in our township?
I think our township, for the improvement, I would say the activities for the children, which the recreation committee is doing great work already. But I think continuing to improve things for the younger families coming back into the township is, I think, other than that, our township's doing fairly well.
Okay. Also, well, based on your knowledge of the community, what do you see as the top priorities and why?
The top priorities, I think continuing with the road, the infrastructure, maintain, like the maintenance of it, so it doesn't fall behind. And also improving, like I would like to see improvements in the park. And I know a lot of people have mentioned the same things.
Good. And again, I saw the volunteerism and whatever. I guess I come down to almost what Dave said, one question. So what have you done for us lately?
Since I left the recreation committee, I haven't been a whole lot of volunteering in the township. To be honest, I'd like to do more. I've thought about the soccer, but I have zero experience in soccer. And I guess that's kind of where it comes down to, is the opportunities with volunteering. If it's not in your wheelhouse, it's kind of like, I'm not the guy to teach kids how to play soccer.
Okay, good. Fair. No other questions. So Sean, thank you for leading us off. And Sean Mills doesn't appear to be here, so that will be an issue. Move on to Joshua Dills. Welcome, Joshua.
Councilors, Mayor, respected staff, appreciate the opportunity to speak to you today. I have prepared a brief statement, if I can just read that. I've had a lot of jobs in my life. I've been a care worker for displaced children, respite care worker for people suffering from mental health issues. I provided resource assistance for homeless, drug addicted, and mentally divergent. I've been a police officer, school resource officer, and investigator. As I progressed in my career, I learned the value of conflict resolution. I became fluent in diplomacy. I learned to mediate and to keep the peace and to make the hard decisions. And most importantly, to meet people where they were. These are the skills that I bring to the table, and they're skills I've become very good at. When it comes to making decisions, I'm stubborn, admittedly, because I know in my mind that once I've made my decision about something, I didn't come to a conclusion lightly. But that said, my secret to managing that stubbornness is that I am always willing to admit that I might be wrong. And being willing to admit that I might be wrong allows me to keep an open mind and to be open to new ideas and grow in my views and in my opinions. Since coming here a few years ago, we've had some difficult times here. And every single time, people in this community have stepped up to help me, help my family, without even being asked. We've had people show up to help us out that I didn't even know who they were before they walked onto my property. That's something that's unheard of in this day and age. People just don't do that anymore. Nipissing is an amazing place. And it's a place that I'm proud to call my home. I'm not good at a whole lot of things, but working with people is something that I'm good at, and it's a way that I can contribute back to this community that's given me so much, given my family so much. It's the first place I've been since I left my childhood home more than 20 years ago, where I can honestly say that friend and neighbor in this place is almost synonymous. I elected to put my name forward because of my interest in giving back to this community. I haven't really known a way to do that up to this point, but when I saw the posting in the office, I felt like it was probably the best way I could think of to use the skills that I've developed to try and make myself useful to this city. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your consideration.
Thank you. And I'll ask Councillor Kirky.
Okay, what would you say is the job description of a counselor?
Obviously, I would think that there's a lot of administrative duties that are required in terms of policies and budget and as a group making decisions that you feel is best for the community and the best interests of everyone in the community. Aside from that, being a part of various different committees that support the community and support different aspects of the community. Additionally, I think a big part of it is addressing concerns from community members. And quite frankly, I think that's the area where I would really excel at, being able to speak to community members who are concerned, who might be upset about a decision that council's made or upset about the direction that the township might be moving in, or just questions and concerns that they might have.
Should you be selected, what are your immediate priorities?
My immediate priorities would be simply to find out what the most pressing issues are in terms of where the council is struggling, where you guys are looking to invest time and energy, and try and figure out where I can play a role in terms of my strengths and weaknesses to be the best asset that I can be. Yeah, I suppose just finding my place on the team and figuring out where I fit best.
Good. Okay. In your opinion, what is the biggest success within the township? What is our biggest good news story?
Off the top of my head, the only thing that immediately comes to mind is all of the good work that the recreation committee is doing. One of the things that I've been very pleasantly surprised at since I got here is all of the community events and opportunities for families to be involved here. That has been something that has drawn me to this community and has helped me to meet people and become a part of the community as well. Outside of that, I don't know what I could say.
I think that's good for me.
And you've answered my question I had already, so thank you.
Okay, now and I think, Josh, when you did apply for the OPP board,
Yes, sir.
and I do appreciate that. And again, because I'm on the recreation committee and we live virtually through volunteers. And I appreciate the fact that you did volunteer for that board. What other interests would you have? You know, you said you're looking for a place, but other committees that you may be interested in?
I did review the committees that Nipissing has, and I know that the opening that was left by the former counselor is with the East Nipissing Veterinary Unit. I don't know what all of the different committees and units do. I'm always willing to pitch in, whether I'm familiar with a particular area or not. In terms of the veterinary unit, I do own livestock, so it's something that I would have a vested interest in. But realistically, I'm willing to fit in wherever I'm needed.
Okay, I appreciate that. I was on that committee, but had to leave because I didn't have a chicken. I had no livestock, so you're definitely, well, you're overqualified. So thank you, Joshua. I don't think there are any other questions, and we'll move on. Thank
For
you.
your time.
Austin Lake Mitchell.
Council, Mayor Piper, Township staff, I want to thank you all for your time and for your consideration in my candidacy for councilman. Before I dive into why I might be a good fit for this role, I'd like to share a bit about myself. My name is Justin Blake Mitchell. I moved to the township about 3 years ago with my wife, Alyssa. We have one child and one on the way. I am a volunteer firefighter within the township. I'm a business development manager at TransCanada Safety. And I'd say, like most residents of Nipissing, I'm a regular guy. I'm not a politician. I'm not aiming to be a political figure, but I do want to serve on this council. Some of my core values that I live by every day is act like an owner. Acting like an owner means I will treat the town's finances as my own. If it's not fiscally responsible for the township, it's not fiscally responsible for me, we're not doing it. Secondly, act with integrity. I act with honesty and ethically in all areas of my life, whether it's with my wife, my workplace, volunteering as a firefighter, or in a counselor role. And acting with urgency is my third core value, and that's important because delay and procrastination, in my opinion, kills opportunity. So acting with urgency and prioritizing action items as they come, even if it's not an urgent matter, it should be treated as such to get things moving along and get things done. Lastly, execute with excellence. Doesn't matter what I'm doing, if I'm splitting firewood, stacking the wood at my workplace, it's important that you give your all to everything that you do, and anything worth doing is worth doing well. Some of my goals within the township, my number one goal, and I want to stress this point, is to preserve the township we live in. I don't want to come in and make any drastic changes. I want to keep things the way they are. In 20 years, when my kids are grown, I want them to choose to live in Nipissing Township. I want them to want to live here and to want the lifestyle that they were brought up with. Living here is like living where I came from, Mississauga, was 20 years ago. My neighbors, strangers on the side, if I'm pulled over on the side of the road, a stranger will stop in 2 minutes and help me change a tire. That doesn't happen in the city. So preservation of the town is my number one and top priority. Number two, goal and objective will be to maintain property taxes. And if an increase is required, it should be marginal, and we should have exhausted all options before doing so. If it means that we have to be smart in our buying decisions, the way I am buying my bulk supplies at Costco, or when items go on sale, or buying a quarter cow at $6.50 a pound, I will do everything in my power to make sure we're purchasing and procuring in a smart way. Third, and this is an initiative I'm going to take, is Nipissing supporting Nipissing. You hear it all the time, and it's deafening. Support local, support local. And you kind of lose the meaning in what that actually means. I'm going to do everything I can to involve the community and making sure business owners of Nipissing are being met with buyers in Nipissing. This will do three things in my opinion. It's gonna drive revenue growth for our Nipissing businesses. It's going to hopefully save the customers and other constituents of Nipissing money. Thirdly, it's going to make sure our township is thriving, therefore also helping the town in their finances. Some of the roles I've held in the past 12, I've been in sales for the past 12 years. And in my current role, I sell to municipalities, fire departments, public works departments, along with industrial settings. Look at somewhere like Rainier, or formerly known as Tempe. I spent about 2 to 3 days a week there in my current role. And what's happened lately, as I'm sure you've heard, they've laid off 275 workers. These are people I've grown to love. They're fantastic people. Every single business within that township relies on the well-being of Rainier. I want to make sure that I'm doing everything I can. When you see how all these dots are connected, you really see the power of local. And I've seen that firsthand now. So I'm hoping I can implement some of what I've seen here. Secondly, over the years, I've been responsible for building budgets and projecting sales targets and plans. And believe me, you are held accountable for what you say. So it's important to me, if you say you're gonna do something, that you actually follow through and you do it. So for me, I have exceeded, I've over projected, I'll say, and been a little optimistic in sales targets. I've learned pretty quickly that that's not the way to go, and to be realistic in what your plans are and make sure your budget meets those forecasted sales targets. I think a lot of the same applies on council. Making that budget, sticking to that budget, and then if there's residual at the end of the year, putting those dollars back in a reserve. On that note, we'll let you get the rest of the answers you're looking for to your questions. And once again, thank you all very much.
Thank you. That was well rehearsed. You were right on 5 minutes. Perfect. First question, we'll go to Councilor Yim. Pardon? No, we're just going the whole
Okay.
way.
Again, I have the same question. What makes you the best person to fill this position, which I think you pretty much answered. I don't know if you have anything
I'll
else.
respond to that in saying, I'm not sure I am the best candidate to fulfill this position, and I will leave that up to you fine folks to determine that.
Okay. What do you think is our biggest challenge within the township?
I'm probably gonna go back to Nipissing, supporting Nipissing. I don't wanna say it's our biggest challenge, but it's probably our biggest opportunity. And other than that, I think we've done a fantastic job in terms of our finances. We're well ahead of other townships in the neighboring regions. Our reserves are healthy and well, and I think we have Charles Burton to thank for that, or partially. In terms of additional challenges, I think we're doing quite well.
Awesome. And what's the plan to juggle family, council, career, committees, all of, because it's a lot, I'll be honest sometimes. So what's the plan?
Well, I used to value sleep a lot more than I have lately. So, my wife was very ill in November with her pregnancy, and December and January and February. And luckily we've overcome some of those challenges. That showed me what perseverance actually looks like and what you can do on 2 to 3 hours of sleep. I don't aim to get 2 to 3 hours of sleep, but what I can tell you is if I didn't have time to allocate to council, I would not be standing here in front of you.
Fair enough.
Okay. And so based on your knowledge of this community, what do you see as our top priorities and why?
So I think we'll go back to my top priorities. I don't know if it aligns with the townships. Preserve Nipissing Township and keep it life the way it should be. Secondly, is maintaining property taxes and ensuring we're meeting our budgetary requirements. And thirdly, Nipissing, supporting Nipissing.
Also, what do you think is the most important skill of a municipal councilor?
I would say active listening. So it's one thing to just listen and to hear, but something I've learned in sales and through formal sales training is active listening. That's how you're portraying your body language. Are you actually hearing and seeing this person for what they're saying? I'm not saying to implement every proposal from a constituent, but actually hearing them, seeing them, to me, is the most valuable and important asset of a councillor. Because at the end of the day, we're not here to serve ourselves, we're here to serve the constituents of the township. Thank you. Thanks again.
Thank you. And next we'll hear from Donna Taylor.
No, I'm a retired teacher. I feel like I get a paper airplane with that. Joking aside, Mayor Piper, councilors, and the rest of the crew that makes this township tick. Thank you for listening to us, and we hope that you are able to get everything you need to pick the best person for the community. So I think it's fair to say that all of us, everybody here shares the same dream, and that is to have the best community possible for ourselves, for our children, and for many of us, for grandchildren. So it goes without saying that that's what we're here for. And what I also want to see, or when I tell you, is that you're in a unique position without having elections to pick the very best person for your team. And you don't always get that in an election. And I know this document, which some of you I know have read, can you make sure you echo the sentiments of this in your cover letter? I'm proud of that because we took the time to find out what the township is going for. And I already know what you believe in because it's very clear in here. So that's important. So here's what I'm gonna do moving forward. I have a question, teacher and me, and I have a challenge. You guys get the question. So the question is, what do you have? What skill, what education, what passion, whatever it is, what do you have to make this come to fruition? Okay? This is a great council. There's a lot of skill here. There's a lot of experience. There's a lot of different hats. I mean, Chris must wear I don't know how many hats she wears. So there's a lot already happening. What can you offer different that's not already on this council? Because I think that's going to really help propel this forward. And that's where you guys have a big decision. What do I need to complete our team? And take advantage of this opportunity because it's going to be valuable. So that comes to what I have to offer. So this is something you may have seen. This is another prop that I like to bring as a teacher. Schedule B. So this was the year 2018 plan. When I look at this is a treasure map to me. Anyone who knows me knows this is what makes me tick. I fled from 2 communities because this was being destroyed. And I couldn't be a part of that. I didn't want to raise my children there. And so I came here, and then my children love it too. They followed us. We thought we sold the house and took off, but they followed us. And now I have grandchildren here. So this is pretty special for me. So the big thing is, though, just like in the Municipal Act, when you're considered as a councillor, the steward to the township, we're also stewards to our land, to all of this. Okay, and it takes a lot of work and a lot of understanding to do this properly. And that's what I would offer. If you look at how I did the cover sheet, I didn't simply echo what you've already said here, okay? What I chose to do was show the skills, the communication skills, the education I had to support taking care of this. And what my other gift is, and especially again, not just my science degree, but if you look along the path, I took a lot of special ed, which, you know, at the end of my career, which upgraded a lot of my communication skills, but it also showed me how I could take information that people needed to make good decisions and have a better understanding, and how to show that in a way that everybody could understand what I was saying so they could use it. That's an important gift, and I never take it for granted. And that's something that I would like to continue doing. So I've got a bit of a dilemma, but before I tell you that, just one challenge out to the council. We can all talk the talk, but I can walk the walk when it comes to environmental support. So do you need to find someone who can be on your team and can also walk the walk for what you think is going to be important moving forward? I'm impressed already with who I met, and I'm really happy. I'm about to make a pretty big decision right now, and I apologize that I didn't do this earlier. But as of this week, my caregiving responsibilities have shot up 1,000%. I'm gonna have to withdraw from this candidacy, but I had to listen to you guys. I had to know in my heart that this township is gonna be taken care of. And I don't want you to think I came here just to listen to myself. I really thought a lot about this and how I could be the steward of our environment, the steward of our township, which we all love. So much so that I've already drafted up a legacy project. This is really important to me. So I've got 4 grandchildren, 1 in production right now. And I mean, our goal is to jump off Whale Rock. We love this township. This is where my heart is. So I'm gonna share this with Mayor Piper. Do not feel the need at all to share this with anyone else, because you might not be in a position to do that. But it just shows my commitment to what I want to see for this township, and that I do have integrity. I didn't come here and just kind of decide that, you know, I'm not gonna do this. I can't do this. I have to put my family first. And I think all of you will understand that. You've already proven to me that your family is important, and your family will be important to me too. So if you want me to just get off the stage right, I'll go. But if you think you can ask a question that might help you make a better decision, go for it. If not, I will just quietly sit down.
I guess my decision to be clear, you are withdrawing.
Absolutely, and I apologize, Chris, for all the extra work, and again, thank you, but, sorry, I think I got a phone call today that I can't even be at the first 3 commitments, so who am I fooling, right? But that being said, I can be there for any information required for the environment. So I think it would be wise for the township to strike up a committee for environmental, an advisory board almost, and I could certainly, and I will be 100% on that, and that's how I can support this community. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. And good luck, everybody. Now I can say to the best man win. No.
Okay. We have Chris Johnston.
Evening, members of council and Mr. Mayor. Donna, thank you. I don't think you could have teed me up any better, because what I did first was, I'm like, I want to sit at this table. So I've got to think about, if I was sitting at this table, what would I want in a counselor? And there's 3 things. So dedicated, adding new perspectives, how can you add new perspectives, and focused on the long term. And so to me, when I think about being dedicated, I think that means to show up. And it's not just one time, it's not just when an election's happening. So over the past several years, I've helped improve the communication between the council and the town, while not even being a member of the council. Examples of this, the posting of the agenda package. That is something I brought forward and offered to the township. I highlighted a discrepancy in the bylaws for the boards and the committees. Previously, the bylaw stated we were going to be a 1-year term, and we updated that now to 4 years to reflect what the resolutions were going on. I've also been attentive to the council proceedings on YouTube highlighted things such as the recent audit that had a misplaced date on it that Chris was able to update so that other people that were reading through would not be mistaking what's happening. I've also actively participated in the strategic planning process. I was at the town hall meetings. I came and I presented to council at the time of my ideas for it. And while some of them were well received and others were not, that is okay. We don't need to be in complete agreement. We need to be able to bring ideas together and actually actively participate. When I talk about adding new perspectives, I think something Mr. Mills said and highlighted about Mississauga. And 20 years ago, it changed from what it is today now. And I worry about that in our own community, like many of others have highlighted. But I also think it's important to recognize that the times are going to be changing. And I think we need to really think about two relevant things forward. We can ignore it, we can bury our heads in the sand and realize we just don't want to deal with it, or we can think about it strategically and plan for the long term. How can we best adapt and how can we best use this so that we are able to build the community that we want and continue to have the great community that we enjoy today. I also think it's important to realize that with Starlink and fiber optic technology coming into the township, there's entirely new ways of working in this community. I've been working remotely since 2016. Since 2018, I've been in this community working remotely for tech startups in Toronto, Philadelphia. I've had clients in Singapore. I understand what this new age and new world of working is. And so while fully support Nipissing businesses, you also have to think about the people that can come here now, put down roots and work outside of the community because of these new technologies that are here. And so we have to think about that as we start to plan out what we're looking for in the community. In my current role as a senior marketing operations manager at a technology company out of Toronto, currently I have 3 direct reports. I'm used to managing people. I have 7 budget figure responsibility on my plate and have implemented more than a dozen SaaS platforms. This is something that I think is probably fairly unique to myself in terms of what I'm capable of with technology, and certainly the town's suite new deployment for the town software is something that I'm very familiar with deploying some similar technologies for numerous organizations. And so I think, again, we've mentioned, what can I bring to the table that's different than what is here? I am someone who has a completely different skill set than what I think is on this council currently. I also have a lot of budget experience, as I mentioned, and I think one thing that's going to be able to do, I'll be able to help jump in and go right ahead. I know what's in the budget. I'm going to question things like why we're losing tens of thousands of dollars at the candy shop. I'm going to ask why we're taking a 34% profit margin on our recreation programs. I'm going to ask why we're still holding on to our $60,000 technology budget, which is losing money every year because we don't add the inflation, we don't add the money we make on our interest on our cash holdings to those budgets. Why we're still holding on to that, knowing that the technologies are already here, if we need to reconsider that. I'm going to ask these types of questions, and I might not like the answers, I might like the answers, but I think we need to be able to discuss them and have interesting opportunities around that. And finally, focused on the long term. We hear often, at the town hall last meeting, young people are not willing to volunteer. We also know that another concern is young people are moving away due to lack of opportunity. And so here I am, I'm 36 years old, like great-grandfather's farm is 20 minutes from here. My wife's family, multi-generation farms 20 years from here. I'm a farmer now here in the area. I've volunteered on the museum board, I've been on the recreation committee, I've shown up to council meetings, I've brought different ideas. I'm here and that's what I'd like to bring to you.
Thank you. We start with Councillor Young.
All my questions the same, and you pretty much answered it, but what would make you the best person to represent this council?
Yeah, I think I bring a new set of skills, a new set of ideas. I bring youth, and I bring a lot of business experience. I'm certainly not the roads guy, I'm certainly not the fireman, but I'm someone who's able to work with people and understand how to bring communication to the community, I think.
Thank you.
With your focus on tech, and we've talked about it lots over the time, and in a community that is not quite so tech savvy and not so focused on internet and the rest of that, how do you see you pivoting to help those constituents or those members of our community?
I mean, I actually worked for a telecommunications company in Milverton, where they did not have cell phones because they are Amish and Mennonites. I've sent out flyers in newspapers, I've done the old school type of marketing as well, and so I'm fairly well adapted to the different ways. But at the same time, I think we need to also offer those opportunities of technology. And by not offering them, for instance, our newsletter being only paper, I think we're also discounting a new generation that is more tech savvy. We watched what's happening at Commanda Facebook group pop up a month or so ago, and we've got over 300 members in that group now. And so I think that people are becoming more tech savvy and are looking for more information visually.
Okay. And what's changed over the last year, let's say, so that you can focus back on volunteering and giving back? What's changed for you?
I mean, I don't think anything's really changed. I think the reasons I left the museum board and the recreation committee was because I wasn't feeling it was having an impact. So I have been still participating, going to the town strategic plannings and doing different things. So I don't think I've checked out, but I think my ability to contribute on the other boards were not there. And I think that's a systemic problem with council. I don't think we provide at council level direction to our committees and boards. We have representation on there, but I don't think we often say, hey, this is our goal for the year or for the 4-year terms. I don't think we do enough strategic planning. And I think we set up our boards and committees fairly that way.
Okay, Chris, what in your opinion are the most pressing issues challenging this township right now?
I think there's a few. I think communication is certainly one. We've had, and decision-making is another. I think obviously with the trailer bylaw, we had a lot of concerns. With the Alisas Road situation, we've had a lot of concerns. With the Brock situation, we've had a lot of concerns. And I think these things have been let fester and grow in the community. And I don't think we've appropriately addressed them and moved on and made decisions, but also communicated the reasons for those decisions. I don't think has been communicated effectively.
Thank you. Based on your knowledge of the community, what do you see as the top priorities and why?
I think strategic planning and understanding of vision of where we want to be. I think right now, a lot of what we do is focused on the next couple of years, but we're not thinking about what do we want in 20 years from now. We're spending 88,000 or 100,000 or something on the museum foundation. We're spending, I think, another 10 or 20,000 on windows. And I know there's some grants and things available, but we're also now over here. And this was a result of COVID, why we moved here from council chambers and reset the office. We know there's some work at the municipal yard. We've had other councillors in the past talk about the desire to have a full-time recreation person. We've struggled to find where we're storing soccer nets. I think there's some conversations around what do we want to do? What do we want to be? And do we want to keep on patchworking things? We've talked about having an arena project going on. All of these things are interesting ideas. Maybe they're fiscally responsible, maybe they're not. But I don't think we get to the point where, oh yeah, in 20 years, we want to have X, Y, Z. This is what we want to be. We're just doing what we've always done.
Interesting. Brought up some interesting questions. July 7th, is it July 7th we're having the open house? I think July 7th is an open house. It was gonna be in the park, but we don't have the electronic 17th, I had a 7 in it, so 17th. So hopefully on that time, if you ask a direct question, you'll probably get a direct answer. Why there isn't an arena yet, because we only need $500,000 and these taxpayers can't afford it. The rock we won't discuss because of course it's in court, but it's sucking up your tax money as we go. The other thing though, in the sake of open and transparent, I give you a lot of credit coming here tonight, because can you tell me what you said 6 months ago to this council?
I don't know specifically what you're referring to, but I'm sure I've said something disparaging.
You suggested that all these councilors were a quarter of the way in their term and they should all resign.
Yep.
And so I give you a lot of credit for being here tonight, you know, to come and make these, and So being open and transparent, I appreciate that. You have a vast background in planning. But around here, we're at the point we need boots on the ground. We can do all the planning we want, but if there's nobody there to do the lifting, we're not gonna get everything done. And so I guess that would be my statement, my rebuttal to, we have to plan because we can't plan if we don't have the help to do it. But I thank you, and I guess time is up and we'll move on to the next speaker. And we're getting down, we must pretty much have an idea. The next one would be Robbie Searson.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I do have a statement that I'd like to refer to just so that I don't say anything else that any other candidates have made, possibly already said, so these are my words and my words only, so I just to start off with that, welcome staff and thanks for being here, guests and fellow candidates. So, Mayor, Council, with the support of my wife Amy, who's in back row there, I would like to discuss with you the opportunity why I should be selected as for the vacant council position for the remainder of this term. My 20 years experience as a senior manager in the municipal sector, I believe that I have the skills, knowledge, and understanding to be a municipal councillor. Moreover, in today's environment, an effective council must have a solid understanding of municipal regulations, federal, provincial acts, and standards. I've been involved in the creation and implementation of asset management plans, long-term capital planning, operational budgets, strategic plans. I had to write big so I can see, except for my glasses, thank you. And other policies and procedures. I have a clear understanding of the roles and responsibilities between council and staff. My core values align with the core values of the township in the strategic plan, which is honesty, integrity, responsibility, and accountability. Not long after Eve and I moved away 8 years ago, we realized that the northern rural life is us. I grew up on the South Shore of Lake Nipissing, and my family had a cottage on Stormy Point, where I spent many summers. We've been visiting and staying in Nipissing over the last few years, and I've volunteered at many events, and I think I've met and talked to most of the councillors at the events I've been here volunteering for. Amy and I knew someday we'd return here. After the passing of my mother in July of 2023 and my father in January of this year, we made the decision it was time to move back, and we wanted to make Nipissing our home. On March 31st this year, I retired from the municipal sector as full-time fire chief, but I was able to continue my passion in the fire service as a fire service specialist with TransCanada. I work together, which is here in North Bay. We were able to secure a long-term lease on a home on South River Road. Amy's and my plans are to buy or build a forever home here in Nipissing. I really enjoy being back on the Nipissing Volunteer Fire Department and helping the community we've come to love. I always had a passion for volunteering in the community, and I thought many times I'd like to become a member of council. This is why I believe I'd be an excellent fit for the vacant council position. I will work with the mayor and council to keep life the way it should be here in Nipissing Township. Amy and I have relocated here as we want this to be our forever home, as we believe the Township of Nipissing is the greatest place to live, work, and play. Thank you.
Thank you, Robbie, and I will start at the far end.
Okay, thank you. So, Rob, what do you think is the most important skill of a municipal councillor and why?
Absolutely, 100% communication skills. You need to be able to be effective communicator and effective listener. You need to listen to the public's requests and wants and concerns, and then communicate back to them what the priority of the council is going forward.
Also, should you be selected, what are your immediate priorities?
I mean, requires, well, I would like, like the mayor said, I'd like to jump in with both feet. review the asset management plan, review the roads need study if it's current and up to date. And assist council in any budget decisions, which the next meeting is the budget meeting, so be involved in the budget deliberation discussions and offer my input with my experience.
Thank you.
So I'm gonna ask the tough question, I'm gonna ask the question that's out there, and kind of what came to my mind the minute I saw your letter. Why, with being back only a couple of months, should we even consider you?
That is a great question. Thank you, Councillor. We did leave 8 years ago. When you see my letter, I was a former fire chief here. Coming back again, Amy and we decided that this is one to be our forever home. Truly, with my statement now in my letter, I believe that Nipissing is a great place. I have many friends in this area, and I like to offer the support. I like volunteering here. I've just recently, when I was at Christmas, I came here and helped the fire department wrap gifts and deliver gifts for the Christmas drive. Last summer, I was here visiting, and it was short some people to help with the soccer, so I actually helped with soccer. The fire department implemented a new fire management software plan, which I'm very familiar with. So I actually was here and spent a few hours with the fire chief helping him implement that software. So I think, being a new resident, I can definitely see why that question would come up. But I love Nipissing Township. I love the South Shore. I did grow up not in Nipissing, but we did own property in Nipissing. So I am very familiar with the area. And of the 3 municipalities that I lived in my lifetime, I still think this is the greatest municipality to live in, and I want to be a part of it and work with the community and council.
Yeah, that's it for me.
And you've answered my question that I was going to ask, so thank you.
And I've been on council long enough that I do remember that you were the fire chief for a long time. So we're going back. So at that, when you said about budget experience, what budget experience would you have to share with us?
So in my career as a senior manager, I was also the fire chief of Calendar, so I did planning with them. That's when the asset management started, so I was instrumental in starting and working with Calendar on the asset management plan. When I went to the town of Nipissing, which is a much larger municipality, my position there was actually general manager, so I overseen many departments. So I did a lot of capital planning. The one thing that was interesting about when I was in Nipissing, being a general manager, is the fleet, not just the fire department fleet, but the entire fleet of the town was under my responsibility. So I had all of the fleet plus the garage operations, so the mechanic worked actually under me. So I understand fleet management. I understand equipment purchasing. I never knew that there was 2 types of ice surfacers out there, Zamboni or Olympia, until I went to work there. And I didn't know what a Dickie John is. Everybody's gonna laugh at that. I know Dave will know what it is, but I had no idea what a Dickie John was until I had to order a snowplow. So I can bring a lot of expertise to the table with long-term capital planning and operational budgets.
Okay, thank you very much. No other questions?
Thank you.
So you're good. I think we know who's left. Right. That would be James Scott. That would be our last candidate tonight.
My name's James Scott. I'm actually a little choked up to see how many people actually care about this place. Not just me, not just here, everybody. Elected once. I was unfortunate that I wasn't able to get elected the second time. I still carried on the rec committee. I still take my truck once a month and trailer, go to the landfill, take all the beer bottles and count them, clean them, take them off, deliver them. Because I was a former counselor, I may not need as much training or limited amount of training. I may need to get caught up on maybe things that have changed. I have 28 years' experience in public works. I have retired from the municipality of East Ferris. I actually went back last year because they were stuck and short. I came back, went to work, did my due diligence through the year to help them get through their tough times. I did it all. How do I say this? I volunteer on the fire department. I'm also joined the cemetery board. They were short, they needed a person, so I stepped up and picked up that little bit of responsibility. I do understand most of the planning and the municipal act. And I think our biggest challenge in this township is volunteerism. We have a ton of events and we struggle to find people to help work them. Yet I've been noticing the rec committee, as we put on more events, we're starting to pick up a few people wanting to join because they see how good this is, how good it's getting. And I think that can go all the way around. I took the lead on the breakfast coming out for the museum. So I'll be with Mr. Piper. We're gonna do our cooking and hopefully Mr. Kirky too, I can convince to come out. I think I don't have big luxury speeches like the rest, but it's in the actions. I perform, I come, and I do what it needs to be done. Whatever committee needs to come on, well, then that's what I have to do. And I really appreciate all these. I know how hard it is to do this. I'm gonna turn it back over to the rest.
Okay, thank you, James. So I'll start with Councillor Kirky.
Okay. So should you be selected, what are your immediate priorities?
I think try to grow our volunteerism to help grow our community, help grow our events. If we grow our events, more people will come together and become a stronger, smaller knit community. I don't see any big issues running around.
Okay, thank you. So also, what is your general approach to handling potentially controversial or complicated issues?
My past experience being in public works, 9 out of 10 times, if you let people run on and talk long enough and yell at you long enough, they answer their own question. Don't interrupt. Don't be confrontational. You just gotta kind of sometimes eat it and then slowly work through it. And then you have to explain to some people that you can't just turn the switch on and everything goes away. It takes time. Municipalities take time. Everything takes time. Thank you.
What do you think the biggest challenge we face right now as a council is,
With council,
or in the township?
I still think volunteerism or lack of is challenging. It's challenging.
Do you plan on running again next term?
I believe so, yes.
To answer my questions.
And I just want to go on because James is the last speaker. You talked about priorities and boots on the ground and that kind of thing. Do you have time? And that's one thing I've noticed. We all suggest we have a lot of time, but it takes a lot of time. When I started, Councillor Young, that time said if you got 2 hours every 2 weeks, you can be a damn counselor. But I found it's a little different than that, you know? Do you have the time? Can you make the time, the commitment?
When I was council last time, I was full-time job in public works. Dave knows this, that the phone was never really off. So at any time you come to work, And I don't believe I missed one council meeting. I always scheduled work around, took on different shifts so that I could make sure that I was here. I am retired. I do part-time work for a local contractor now. And he has no issues if I need to leave to go into meetings or come to a special meeting or whatever. He's aware that I'm actually trying to get back on.
Okay, well, thank you, James. And that ends our speeches for tonight. Just quickly. Each of us have a ballot in front of us. There's no discussion or anything like that. We'll mark the ballot. Somebody has to have 3 votes. If it's less than 3, then only the people that get the votes.
So if there are 3, the person who receives 2 votes goes to the next round. Now the 2 that receive 1 vote, we draw the names to remove 1, and it goes back to the ballot.
Okay, so hopefully that cleared it up. So what we'll do is ask each of the counselors to indicate your ballot and then fold it up and we'll put it back in the transparent bucket. This, traditionally, this hasn't happened in one ballot. It's been 2 or 3. It's like a leadership convention.
We have 1 vote for Robbie Serson, 2 votes for James Scott, and 1 vote for Sean Hughes. According to, if there are 3 or more candidates remaining, the clerk shall by lot select 1 such candidate to be excluded from subsequent voting. Serson. So that leaves Sean and James. Sean Hughes. James Scott. James Scott. James Scott.
So now according to the agenda, we're confirming bylaw, I'll pass it down. I need a mover and seconder. Still have to take a vote by hand, but it's still, I need to move her to second at the top. Just like we would. I forget I do that. So it's resolution number 2024-98 was moved by Dave Yam, second by Shelley. We passed bylaw number 2024-20 being a bylaw to appoint a counselor. Read a first, second, and third time and passed this 9th day of May 2024. All in favor? Carried. So we have two more. We have the confirming bylaw, and I'll just do it old time's sake. A mover, Councillor Yam, and Councillor Kirky. So it's resolution R 2024-99, moved by Councillor Yam, second by Councillor Kirky. That we pass bylaw number 2024-20, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council at its meeting held on May 9th, 2024. Read the first, second, and third time and passed this 9th day of May 2024. All in favor? Carried. And finally, I need a mover and seconder for the adjourning bylaw, Councillor Yam and Councillor Foote. It's number R 2024-100, moved by Councillor Yam, seconded by Councillor Foote, that the meeting be adjourned at 7:43 p.m. Next regular meeting to be held May 14th, 2024. All in favor? Carried. I'd like to thank everybody who came out tonight, and I do mean everybody. It's tough, but I sincerely hope, especially after the speeches and after what Donna mentioned, that these people will be here, you will be here running in the election in 2 short years. And I would love for somebody to come in and show me that we made one decision tonight, but with the popular vote, you'll make another decision in 2 years. So please run, and hopefully you'll be a member of council then. So I thank you. This meeting is adjourned. Oh, as you leave, fire chief has asked me to read. Emergency preparedness week is this week, May 5th to 11th. Are you ready if an emergency